Om Sahana Vatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti. Up to Brahmaloka, the subject to return. But on reaching me, there is no rebirth. Punarjanmana vidyate says. Essentially, what he's saying is going to Brahmaloka is not growth. That's all it means. Going to heaven is not growth. Living a heavenly life is not growth. Because if you have the essential criterion for growth is you cannot fall back. That is called growth. You cannot get back to that earlier state. Only then you have grown. A child who is grown into an adult cannot become a child again. Illiterate who becomes a literate cannot become an illiterate again. Uncultured, unrefined personality, learning culture becomes refined, cannot become unrefined again. That's the meaning of growth. Economy is growing. It's not growth. It's a bubble. Say, why? It bursts. Because every 5 years we are experiencing recession. Now, if every 5 years you are falling, means it's not growth. See, it's just change of state. He says, going to heaven is just a state, change of your state, change of your place. That's about it. That's not growth. That's why he says, Na punarjanmana vidyate. Says, having reached me, there is no rebirth. Meaning, you don't fall back. You don't come back. Rebirth is you come back. So you go to heaven, put in so much of effort, you go to heaven, only to come back again, to start from the beginning. That means all the effort that you had put in, believing that to be growth, is just a delusory understanding. Is not truth. Is what he is saying. All the worlds up to Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka is the highest heaven, seventh heaven, we say. Seventh heaven you can go, but still you will come back. And now suddenly he branches off to something. Right? Suddenly in the next verse 17, Krishna branches off to some other idea, which will look apparently unconnected for all of us. Right? Now when you read that verse, you will understand, how it is unconnected for us, actually speaking. Verse 17 says, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Haryat Brahmano Viduhu Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam Eho Ratra Dhovido Janaha. The people who know the day of Brahma, which ends in 1,000 yugas, ages, and the night which ends in 1,000 yugas, they know day and night. Right? Now suddenly he goes off to something this. Suddenly we need to understand, hey, what is this yuga, day of Brahma, night of Brahma. Now, why do you have to know what is a day of Brahma, what is a night of Brahma and all that? Unconnected, actually speaking. Because the context, the question asked by Arjuna was that, how to think of you? What happens to a person? How am I to worship you during Prayana Kala? At the time of death, what happens? After death, these things, what are the options? What are the possibilities? And he said, you can go, man, you do good things, you will go to heaven, and then you will come back. Now, suddenly, he says, the age of Brahma. What is the lifespan of Brahma? Suddenly, he goes to this equation here. He says, the longevity of Brahma's life. People who know the day of Brahma, which ends in 1,000 yugas. Now, yugas, means a duration of time. That's all. That's one of the measuring units for time. Okay. Now, don't get really confused with these ideas. Now, we are not studying astronomy here. We are not studying physics. Physics you will be studying. What is time? What is the duration of time? In English, we have second, minute, hour, day, week, month, year, decade, etc. Century, like that we have same way. Here, these people have a calculation of time. In that calculation, one of the ways in which they calculate the huge number is yuga. The biggest one is yuga. Like you calculate, tons. Right? A ton. Ton is 1,000 kilograms is 1 ton. Now, when you go to buy gold, you don't ask that quick question. Even kilograms, you don't ask. I hope most of you don't ask. Right? Some of you may say, sir, we buy only in kilograms. Half a kilo, too much. We discuss, buying gold with reference to what? Grams. 10 grams, 12 grams. That's about it. You don't discuss more than that. Now, suddenly you go there and ask about ton. You go to GRT and ask, how much is 1 ton gold? Say you come to a wrong place. Nimhan says, go to the other side, he will say. There's something wrong with you. Each one, there is a way of measuring. One of the ways of measurement is this, yuga. And these people fight like, I don't know what. Now, this is where the problem is. We are using the term, but the context is philosophy. Remember, in philosophy, when you are discussing about time, we discuss time in a different way. We use that same thing, but the implication is very different here. See, now that is what you need to recognize here. Now, one yuga is taken. Here this 1,000 yugas. 1,000 yugas, what is referring to is the Chatur Yuga. You must be knowing this. Kali Yuga. I'm forgetting the names of the yugas. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. These are the 4 yugas. And they give a duration of every yuga. 1 yuga means how much? They say. Kali Yuga time is this. Kali Yuga's time is 4,32,000 years. Supposed to be Kali Yuga. Don't think, Kali Yuga means this, this. My God, where are we now? We'll come back to that. Don't worry. 4,32,000 years, human years. Our 1 year, take it to 4,32,000 years. When you make it, it becomes Kali Yuga 1. Then double of that, 2 times. 2 times of Kali Yuga is Dwapara Yuga. Right. Then 3 times of Kali Yuga is Treta Yuga. 3 times. And 4 times of Kali Yuga is Krita Yuga. Satya Yuga referred as. So totally what it comes at 4, 3, 2, 1. You add all that, it becomes 10. So all that you have to do is, what is Atur Yuga, sir? Atur Yuga is, add 1 more 0 to Kali Yuga, that's all. Which is 43,20,000 years. If it is 4,32,000 years, it becomes 43,20,000 years. This many number of human years is equal to 1 daytime of Brahma, morning 6 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock. Okay. Same way he will have night time also. Evening 6 to next day morning 6. Another add. This becomes 1 full day of Brahma. Like this, Brahma will live for 100 years, which means 365 into 100. Now, what is interesting is, now why is he suddenly talking about that here? Okay, what of it to you to know what is the duration of Brahma's period? So the daytime of Brahma is referred as Kalpa, and night time of Brahma is called Pralaya. That's what it's referred as. This Ratri, at night, everything is unfolded in the morning and gets folded back. That is called Pralaya. This is the presentation. Now, why is he talking about it? Implication comes next. But first, you need to understand, in philosophy, when we discuss about time, remember, we are not discussing about the chronological order of time. This is one, criticism we always have with reference to our Indian, literature. That these people don't have proper record of history, which is true. We don't have proper record of history. Not that there is no record. It is there. It's not that there is no record or anything. Record is there. But we are not able to understand that record in our language. Because in our language, time we understand from one way. But these people made the record not in the chronological order of time. They say human life doesn't move with the chronological order. Your life doesn't go by chronology. Your life goes by the psychological order of time. The reality of time is not chronological. It is psychological. What is the difference? Difference is this, which happens in everyone's house. You can understand that. Once I give example, all of you will understand the difference. Husband and wife decide to go for a wedding. Right? The husband gets ready, comes and sits in the hall. The wife is getting ready. From the room, she keeps telling her husband, 2 minutes. Okay. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. She says 2 minutes. And this fellow also sitting here, believing that it is 2 minutes, and he keeps looking at the clock. The 2 minutes of her is totally different from 2 minutes of this fellow. It's not the same. And then he gets so annoyed. And it is so interesting. I've seen a lot of husbands doing this. They believe she will get ready faster if he goes and sits in the car. Say, I'll go and start the car. You come. He'll go. He will go and bring the car. Car will be standing there. And after that time, he gets frustrated. He switches on the car also. Horn. Still her reply is what? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And what is so interesting is, she comes out and says, why are you rushing me? Not having enough time. Yes. This is what one, reporter, newspaper reporter, he caught hold of, in an airport, in the lounge, Einstein was sitting. And this reporter, saw him and he caught. And he was going to board the flight. As he was going to board the flight, this fellow, the reporter, asked him, sir, that something you talk about relativity. What is relativity? Einstein says, my whole life, I have not found 4 fellows who can understand what I'm talking about. This reporter, I'm not saying the reporter is illiterate. Definitely, he is not a science background fellow. If he had, little science background, he will not go to Einstein in an airport lounge and ask him to explain relativity. But that's the genius of masters, they don't care. Wherever you are, they'll teach. About relativity, I understood only this much. I don't know anything more than that. For a long time, I thought E is equal to mc square is relativity theory. After that, someone told me, I said, that is a different one, this is a different one. I said, oh, that's different. I didn't know. Einstein, beautiful reply he gave as he was walking. This guy is walking along with him. Relativity means you have a hot potato in hand. Seconds look hours. Have a hot girl, hours will look seconds. And he walked out. I said, this I understood. Relativity. There's no, that is a mistake they make. People don't understand. Spiritual discussions doesn't happen at the material plane. The chronological order of time. The chronological order of time is, Sunday morning, 8:30, we will have the class. Bhagavad Gita class happens. This. What is that, sir? That is called a chronological time. The class happens for 1 hour 15 minutes. This 1 hour 15 minutes of the class can move like this, or maybe happening for eternities. How long this man is talking here? We're not talking. Enough. Stop it. Too much. Going on and on. Like maths class, PT class in school. I always wondered, PT master I suspected a lot. He changes the clock, I thought. A lot of time. The maths teacher, puts a magnet behind the clock and stops that. Right? A max class means it will never get over. An English class not to talk about. Now you tell me, you are living your life in which time? See, the clock, as far as it's concerned, it will tick the same speed. In nature, there is no such thing as fast or slow, isn't it? Sun doesn't move faster or slower. It moves the same pace. Same pace, same pace. It will not change. It just goes on in the same. There is no difference. There is no difference whatsoever in the speed at all, which means it is constant. That is why Einstein, for all his calculations, he took that as a constant factor externally. But what is interesting is, are you living in that constant factor in your life? No. Some days goes faster for you. Some days gets dragged, never ends. I don't want to go to sleep. I'm feeling so sleepy 5 o'clock in the evening. If I just doze off at 5 o'clock and wake up at 6 o'clock, I can't sleep till next day morning 2:33. Therefore, what I have to do, fight it out and not to sleep. I'm sitting and waiting for the clock to go to 9 o'clock. So from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, I'm waiting for that to happen. Same 4 hours only. How that 4 hours goes. You go and sit for a movie. 3.5 hours gone. Boom. Don't even realize it. Moves so fast. How this is happening, sir? That is where the heaven concept comes into picture. All this, the duration of time is connected to the pleasant and unpleasant experience. When you are having a happy, pleasant, pleasurable experiences, time appears to be shrinking. Okay. Whenever you are having an unpleasant, painful, unhappy experiences, time seems to be stretching. This is why Bertrand Russell, has written a book, fantastic book. Why I am not a Christian. A famous book. In that, he gives arguments, 32 arguments he gives there. It's to the fallacies in, Christian theology. This is why. Doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. When you probe, it will not make any sense. Prima facie, it will look, very simple, direct, and all those things. But when you probe a little, it just fizzles down. So Bertrand Russell gives 32 arguments in the book. Fascinating one. There, one of the objections he gives is this. One of the objections is this. In Christian faith, you die, go to heaven, but you don't come back. In Indian, all these Abrahamic religions, have that belief. You don't come back. Now here in the eastern side, in India, these religions, whether it is, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, all these, religions, these religions believe in rebirth, which means heaven or hell are not eternal, not permanent. Now his argument was this. He says, I don't care about, heaven being eternal or not is not my point. My point is, how can you have eternal hell? How can you put a fellow for eternal hell? Because Justice means what? Justice means your punishment should commensurate the crime. If there is no matching of the crime and this, like in the tale of two cities, a fellow steals a loaf of bread. He was put in rigorous imprisonment for 19 years for that. 19 years rigorous life imprisonment to the fellow who stole a loaf of bread. What justice is that? There is no justice. You see, now the same thing Bratton Russell brings it here. He says, the lifespan of mind is only about 40, 50, 60, 70 years. In this 70 years of my lifespan, the capacity of my mind is also limited. Opportunity for me to do is also limited. So, with the limited time, limited opportunities, limited capacity, I could have committed only limited crime, no? Right? For a limited crime, punishment also should be limited. You can never have a eternal punishment. Therefore, there's no meaning in that, he said. That's why I tell them, he has not studied Vedanta, poor fellow. Or the Christian theologists also have not studied Vedanta, poor thing. They also didn't know how to explain to him. Counter. Therefore, he says that is wrong. He says the gospel is wrong. We say, no, gospels can never be wrong. The statements of those masters can never be wrong. Impossible. You can only say, I don't understand. You can never say they are wrong. We don't agree to it. At least I don't agree. What is eternal hell means? That is where this idea comes into picture. Say, remember, your life is not lived on the plane of external time, chronological order of time. You live in the psychological order of time. In the psychological order of time, whenever you go through a painful experience, time stretches. If time need to stretch itself to eternity, that means what? It's not that chronologically time is stretching to eternity. No. You will feel it as eternity. Why? That means so painful experience you will go through. So you will be put in eternal hell when it says, it's not saying chronologically eternal time. It is saying you will go through a very, very, very painful experience which will look like almost unending. It will be unending for you, full stop. That is what everyone who goes through pain believes, isn't it? Even when you get a migraine, you feel what? Whenever I get migraine, I used to really wonder. If someone says, can I do some help to you? I say, take it, no, keep it with you for a few days. I'll give my migraine to you. That is not possible. You can say, I will get you tablet, I'll get you this, I'll do that. That and all you can do. At maximum, you can say, what, I'll massage your head. That's all. But you can't. But when I'm going through that pain, I feel like what? My God, it's not going to stop at all. There's no end to it. Whenever I go through a painful experience, time stretches. Heaven means what? That is why we said, heaven or hell is not a geographical place. Remember, last class I explained what is the meaning of this and all that. So those who don't remember, go back. Don't ask me to explain again. Okay. I don't know what I said, but something I remember to have explained in the last class. It's not a geographical place. Then what is it, sir? Hell means a state of mental agitation. When you are mentally disturbed, you are in hell. You are mentally peaceful, you are in heaven. So how do you represent it? How to explain it to you? That is where they took this time as a factor. They said, stretch it, painful, hell. Compress it, pleasure, peaceful, happy, heaven. So heaven is what? Brahma's one day, he will go through this yuga, one full yuga of 43 lakh 20,000 years will appear like daytime, morning 6 to evening 6 for Brahma. That means what? Even then we don't understand. You tell them this is a better way. Swami said, Idala you will not understand, he said. I said, yes, Swami, I didn't understand. Then he gave one example. All that it means is the language which I can understand. He said, you have a Belgian chocolate here. Like you have pizzas, no? Different places you can have pizza. You can have pizza from Domino's. And then you go to Eurasia and have pizza there. And then you go to Little Italy and have there. And then you go to Lila, Goa, have pizza there. Pizza, but the quality is very different. It's totally different. What they do, how they prepare is very different from what we eat here, what we eat there. Totally different quality. Same way, he said, get the best of pizza in the world. Get the best of Belgian chocolate. The world. Number one. Same way, you have that same Belgian chocolate in Brahmaloka. In a difference. Difference is, if this is 1 unit of quality, that is 43 lakh 20,000 times better quality of Belgian chocolate you will get in Brahmaloka. I said, I want to go there. Said, oh, Priya. That chikki we get from Maganlal, you know. They said, hey, Maganlal chikki you have, no? Brahmaloka, that quality is, 43 lakh 20,000 times better chikki you will get in Brahmaloka. I said, realization, keep aside. Let me go to Brahmaloka first. Self-realization, we will see later, Swamiji. First, tell me what is the route, how to go there. That's all you need to understand here. Don't worry about the calculations immediately. I have seen people getting on to analysis of whether it is, how can it be, no, it's not actually 4 lakh 32,000 and it is actually 12,000, and then there's another fellow who says no, it's not 12,000, it is 26,000, and another fellow who says it's not this, not that. I said, who cares? We don't care, because the point is not the duration. The point is the quality of experience you will go through there is so grand, so grand. How to communicate it to you? For that, they give this experience. That's all. So don't take it literally to be taking as 4.32 billion years and all that. It's not that, please. See, 4.32 billion means it is that high quality experience they go through like that. It moves means quality is better. That is all you need to know. And what is this Brahma's age? What is he doing? What is he doing? And all that is not necessary. Rest are all only ritual. Adya Brahmanaha, Dvidya Prapte, Shvetavaraha Kalpe, Vaivashvataman Mantra, all that, every day keep, people who do the rituals, they keep telling. I'm doing every ritual when you do, you are supposed to specify when you are doing and where you are doing. Location. Because any action happens within the sphere of time and space, place. So they give the time duration. The time duration, they say. Now, current Brahma is 51-year-old. Right? How do you know Allah? Don't ask. I don't know. That is what they say. Right? How do you know Brahma? Brahma himself is told by the Shastras only. There is a person called Brahma. There is a place called Brahmaloka. Itself is told by them, we have accepted. Having accepted that, we have to accept whatever they say about Brahma. And they say the current Brahma's age is 51 years. And he is 51 years one day. In that one day, he is in this place. He is in this one. Now, today we are, right now, there is a particular mantra, cycle. Which cycle of that yuga cycle going through now. And then in that, we are in the first pada of Kali Yuga. First portion of Kali Yuga. There is a lot of time is there, don't worry. Kali Yuga to get over. We are just in the first pada. 3 more padas are there. You may ask me, how do you know we are still in the, Kali Yuga is not really, got. The fact is that there is a fellow to be sitting and talking about Vedanta and the Gita, and there are about 40-50 people sitting to interested to learn that. This is a proof that Kali Yuga has not really matured yet. Meaning cancer in the first stage. We say, no, cancer. Which stage of cancer, sir? We are in the first stage of cancer. Kali Yuga in the first stage. And then they gave. And then in this universe, in this planet, in this country, in the country, north or south, then then in this place, I am performing this ritual. This is what they say. All that you are telling is the time and the place when you perform. There they refer all these things. For us, it's not required. So easy for us to understand. There's people who know the day of Brahma. Okay. Why he is giving comes in the next verse. Right. So all that he says is this. Remember the concept in the background. What is the idea there? Idea of having this, what is the growth of it and all those things. So generally keep this idea. Now he is moving in 18 and 19 with reference to what is the connection between that Brahma, Brahmaloka and other lokas. Understood? Brahmaloka means just an example, which means all the lokas. Heaven and hell. Heaven and hell versus life here. How that connection is. That he explains from 2 different angles. One from the angle of microcosm, individual. Another one he explains from the macrocosm, total. So there are 2 angles he is explaining. Verse 18 and 19. This is the idea. So now coming to verse 18. Avyaktat vyaktaya sarvaha prabhavantya rahame ratyargame praliyante tatraivakya sanyake vyakta sanyake tatraivakya tatra eva Avyakta Samyaki. At the approach of day, all the manifested stream forth from the unmanifested. At the approach of night, they dissolve there only in what is called the unmanifested. So, with reference to an individual, he gives two things, Vyakta and Avyakta. These two words you remember. It will keep coming again and again now. Vyakta means manifested, expressed, perceptible, relatable. That is called Vyakta. Avyakta means unmanifested, unexpressed, imperceptible, not relatable. So, Vyakta is one, Avyakta is another. So, at the approach of day, when the daytime comes, this unmanifest becomes manifest. And during night, all that is manifested gets back to that same unmanifested. That's all. When this is happening, all that he says is, it's all big language. All that he says is, you will wake up and go to sleep. During daytime, you wake up. You don't wake up. I go to night, what happens? Unmanifested. What is this unmanifested? Unmanifested means the vasanas, the ignorance. Manifested is your actions, your thoughts, your desires. All that is manifested. You can relate. See, I may not be able to see your thoughts, but you know your thoughts, right? Isn't it? That's what it means. We are not discussing about from outside person. We're discussing about you. You can understand your thoughts. You can recognize your thought. You can recognize your emotions. You can recognize your desires. You can recognize all this. That is called Vyakta, manifested. So manifested means what? Manifested means your three things. Actions, speech, thoughts. All that is manifested. What is unmanifested? Unmanifested is you cannot understand what is it. That is vasanas. So when you are waking up, all your vasanas manifest. When you go to sleep, all your manifested gets back to vasanas again. So that sleep is that laya. Individual sleep. Right? When total cosmic sleep is called a pralaya. Individual, when we refer, we call it as layam. You go to sleep. When the whole world becomes like that, then it becomes pralayam. So this is manifested and unmanifested keeps happening. Again and again and again and again and again and again. It goes, comes back, goes, comes back, goes, comes back. But the backdrop remains the same. Exactly like the blackboard is same. Maths teacher comes and writes maths in that. He goes. English teacher comes and does what? Removes all the maths is gone. Then start writing English there. And then history teacher comes. He removes all that English and then she puts on the history. And then physics teacher comes. He removes this. All this is gone. This is gone. What is perceptible is this. What is imperceptible is what? The blackboard. Manifest and unmanifest. Manifest and manifest. Manifest and manifest. Manifest and manifest. You can't delay, you can't keep on. When someone says, I'm watching TV, understood is what? You're watching some program in that, right? You can't switch off a TV and keep looking at it. Imagine a person thinks, I'm watching TV. What are you doing? I'm watching TV. Simply sitting and watching TV is not watching TV, please. You're seeing a program in that. Manifest. The program is manifested. The TV is unmanifest. Where does the program go? It gets back into the TV again. Again switch on. Again comes back. Again goes back. Again comes. Again goes. Again comes. Again goes. All this keeps coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. That switching on happens during daytime, or whenever that switch on happens, that is called the daytime. Because there are people, who work in the night. So for them, what is day? That is day. They sleep during the daytime. So for them, the day is what? Night. So the point is not day and night. The point is when it manifests, it is daytime. When it goes unmanifest, it is sleep. Nighttime. So day and night, all this is happening. Even now, message has not come. Okay. Implications are there in this. You see the next verse and then I will go to the implications. Right now, there's no implication. Message is only this much. During daytime, individually, you wake up and sleep. Now he says the same thing happens at the cosmic level in the total. Verse 19. Bhuta grama sa evayam. Bhutva praliyate. Pratyagame avashah partha. Prabhavatyava ragame. This multitude of beings, being born again and again, is dissolved helplessly at the approach of night. O Partha, and it streams forth at the approach of day. This multitude of beings, being born again and again, since they take birth again and again, what they do? They are dissolved helplessly at the approach of night. So bhutva means again and again, repeatedly. Bhutva means, again. This being takes birth again and again. This multitude of beings, this Bhuta Grama. Grama means village. Village in the sense assemblage, group. So Bhutva Grama, Bhuta Grama. Bhuta means beings, Grama means assemblage, meaning cosmic. All beings. All beings helplessly. That's the important word here. Avasha. Underline that word. Helplessly dissolve, meaning Vyakta and Avyakta. Manifest and unmanifest. So, creation and destruction. During Kalpa, creation happens. Pralaya, destruction. Again, creation. Again, destruction. Creation, destruction. Creation, destruction. Goes on and on and on. And what happens there? Helplessly, the beings keeps going through this process. In verse 15, I told you, Mamupetya, those who have reached me, na punarjanmana vidyate, he had said. Having reached me, there is no rebirth. Remember that. In the big beginning, this is why I referred it. Okay, so what he means is, those beings who have reached me, no birth, rebirth, and all those things. Now here he says this. Now, why he is saying this now, suddenly? Because there is one great belief we will get into. That is, for me to get into realization, all that I have to do is wait till Pralaya time. Mahapralaya will come. Everybody will get destroyed. No. So at that time, what will happen to me also, sir? I'll also get destroyed. Right? Till Brahma exists, only all these things. No. Once Brahma himself goes off, what happens then? The whole thing is gone. Therefore, what I have to do? Nothing I have to do. Simply wait till this is done. I have fellows give example also for that. Like we do this, the banks have this idea of writing off loans. Like that, Brahma also will write off all our, Papa, Punya, all that account, close all these things, man. That's all. Everything gone. When the bank goes bankrupt, what will happen? Your deposits goes, your loans also goes along with that. Finished. Write off completely. Like that, is there a possibility for me to get to realization? To which he says, no chance. That is not possible. Why? Helplessly those beings will come back again. So, at the time of Pralaya, whatever had been, the same will come back again the next. Exactly like whatever you are when you went to sleep is the same person who wakes up, isn't it? It's not that you go to sleep and you wake up as a different person. Right? There is one lady who got into this problem. She'll remember everything as long as she's awake. Once she sleeps, she'll forget everything. Lady Gajini, So what to do now? You forget everything. When you wake up, you are waking up as the same person. Roger Federer goes to sleep and he wakes up as who? Federer, with all that knowledge, all that skill that he has built as Federer. When Tendulkar goes to sleep and wakes up, he wakes up as Tendulkar only. Mathematician goes to sleep and wakes up, he wakes up as mathematician only. It's not that he goes to sleep and wakes up as somebody else. Projected to the cosmic one. At the time of Pralaya, what happens? All that entire universe gets unfolded and again folds back. Which means, what is the meaning of the word creation here? This is the difference. In Vedanta, we don't call it as creation at all. Loosely, we will use the word creation. But strict, words if you have to use, creation is not the right terminology. Even in creation also, creation means what? Creation means bringing forth the unmanifest into manifest. That's called creation. Creation is not producing something new. It's not creation. Totally new. That's not possible. Because you cannot create, example the Shastras give, beautiful example they say. You cannot create a piece of cloth out of a clay. Why? Why you can't bring it out? You can bring forth a cloth from cotton. From cotton, you can bring forth a cloth. How cotton can be converted into threads, threads can be waved, and you have a cloth. That is possible. But from a clay, you can never bring out a cloth. Which means when you are bringing forth cloth, understood is what? That cloth is inherent. It is in an unmanifested state inside cotton. Which means the properties of the product and the raw material should match. If the product and the raw material are not sharing inherent, the properties, the qualities of the product should be inherent in the raw material. Padana karana, they call it as. The raw material. Without a raw material, you can never bring forth anything. So, what is the raw material here? The raw material is the vasanas. And straight away, it's almost impossible for you to understand what is cotton and what is cloth. You can't directly connect. But then you understand what? It is the cotton that is seen as a cloth now. It's processed. It is manifested. This conversion, this manifestation or the expression of the raw material changed forms is all you see as creation. So essentially what is it? It's the same thing. In one state you call it as product, another state you call it as raw material. But even when you are making that product, the raw material is not dead. The raw material is still intact. The cotton is not dead. Remember, when you made cloth, you have not destroyed the cotton. Cotton is still there. If you destroy the cotton, what will happen to the cloth? Cloth destruction is not means cotton destruction. You destroy the cotton, cloth is gone. Now come to the idea. Vasanas, vasana kshayam is destruction of vasana, is destruction of your personality, your individuality. This is gone. Destruction of the individuality doesn't mean destruction of the raw material, vasanas. Vasanas still there. Okay. Remember that, he says. That is why this word, in this one, what is so important in all these three verses is you can go to heaven, you can have a pleasant experience. That also is what? Not permanent. You will come back. It is impermanent. The moment you understand it as impermanent, after that, how can you be interested in that? You can't be interested in that. After understanding it is impermanent, if you are interested, nothing can be done. Better luck next time, we'll say. Right? Permanent, impermanent only. Then what? The way you live will be very different, isn't it? Like when you go and live, when you go for a tour, you occupy a room in a hotel. You are living there, but you understand what? I'm going to be here only for how long? For two nights, 3 days. 3 days and 2 nights. There's a package. You have brought the package of 3 days and 2 nights package. Once the package gets over, what the hotel fellow will do? Even if you don't call them, they will call you politely. Suppose if you don't respond, politely what they will do? They will pack your bags and keep it outside. Even then, if you don't, politely they will escort you outside. Even then, if you don't, politely they'll carry you and keep you outside. Right? This is called a Trishanku life. Trishanku, what that fellow did? He wanted to go to heaven straight. What? He went right up to the gate. Up to the door he went. And then what, sir? One kick they gave through him out. You can enter there with the proper visa. Even when you have a visa, there is no guarantee that you will be allowed to enter the country. You know that, no? The immigration officer there has the powers to reject. You can't say, I've got the visa. No. Same way, you're getting a visa from the visa officer here is very different from the immigration officer there. This fellow Trishanku got the visa here, but he didn't get the entry there. Most of us live like that. You go there, but you don't get it. Even if you get an entry inside, what is it, sir? Impermanent. How long you can be there? You can be there for so long. After that, what is going to happen? Come back. Come back to this. Come back to this. So impermanent, so transient. Now, what he is saying is this. This going and coming keeps on happening in the form of a cycle. Remember, that is what is important here. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle. We study in Bhajagovindam, no? Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Punarapi Jananam, again birth, again death, again birth, again death. This cycle keeps happening, which means our life is not moving on a straight line. It's in a cycle. If it is going to be in the cycle, which means even during the Pralaya Kala, even during the total destruction, even during the time of even Brahma's death, and next Brahma comes. Even then, what is going to happen? You will come back to the same thing. Why? What is manifested came from the unmanifested. And this movement of unmanifested becoming manifested is called creation. And the manifested getting back to this unmanifested is called destruction. Is it been destroyed actually? No. Is it created actually? No. All that has happened is manifested, unmanifested. This movement goes on happening. This happens helplessly, meaning this happens by law. It's a law of nature. You have no choice. You don't have a choice. This manifestation and unmanifestation at the individual level, no choice. At the cosmic level, no choice. You can't say that I'm going to get realization in this way or this. Both the ways it's not going to happen. Now we may be wondering, sir, what is the problem? Why not we have a rule that we give you chance? Why not God take a stand? Look here, hey, I'll give you chance. Till Brahma's life, 100 years. Brahma like this will go, no? I'll give you a chance like that. So many chances I'll give you. Suppose if you don't get realization within that span of time, I'll give you realization. Come back. That God will all be happy, isn't it? Imagine a God says, I give you chance. If you don't do, I'll punish you. I'll put you there. Suppose we say, no, sir, I'll grant you realization then. I'll wait till Pralaya time. After Pralaya time, I'll grant. there is a defect. There are few defects in that argument. Krishna is ruling out those arguments here. That's what he is doing here. Because, Prayana Kala at the time of death, because why Arjuna is asking that is, last minute if I think of you, I will go to what? Realization. Krishna says, no, you will go to Brahmaloka. You will not get realization. Why? Your vasana is still there, no? So, you are not going to die. Remember, you are not going to be taken birth. You will given birth again. You may die here, but that is not the death of your ego. The cloth is destroyed, but the cotton is still there. You can tear the cloth to pieces, but the cotton is still there. You see, same way here. This manifested going back to unmanifestation is not equivalent to destruction. Why can't we get realization at the time of this? In the implication, avasha, helplessly you will come back. What is the implication there? And he gives few reasons there. There are some reasons we give. First reason is, reason one, we say is, suppose let's say you get realization during Pralaya time. At the time of Pralaya, all of us will get realization. Right? Cleared. All your loans are cleared, right off. Like nowadays, banks and all they do, government. New government comes in. They come to power only by stating what? We will write off all the loans. All these education loans will be written off. And the central government is totally confused because the state government election, that fellow says, if we come to power in state, we will write off all the central government loans. And that fellow was totally confused. Hey, that loan was given by me. It's like, Ishwaran saying, all the loans taken from ICICI Bank, I will write off. Hey, who are you, first of all, man? No, I have a bank account in ICICI. Now, just because you have a bank account doesn't mean you will get the right. No. Like that, can he write off? If he writes off, there is a lacuna, there is a defect, there is a problem. There will be a problem in the equation. First problem is problem number one. There are a lot of problems they give. One of the problem is this. Whenever you are living your life, you do action. In life, you perform actions, isn't it? How you are taken birth? You have taken birth, this body is given to you. Why have you taken this embodiment? You have taken this embodiment because of your punya and papa that you have developed. Depending upon your karma. Karma means what? The effect of karma. What is the effect of karma? Your punya and papa. Depending upon your karma only, your body is going to be. And with this body, what are you going to do? You develop fresh karma, meaning fresh punya and papa. So, past punya papa gave you this body, and with this body, you are going to be creating fresh punya and papa. This goes on and on and on. This is what we referred as cycle. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Means what? This punya papa give you this body. With this body, you are doing this. So this is cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect goes on and on and on. Don't ask the question, Suresh. Right. Body came first or punya papa came first? Right. Suresh, immediately you'll ask, sir, body was first, this one came. Now itself I'm telling you, don't ask that question. First one you cannot ask. You see, why Allah is a different argument. But you cannot ask the question because there is a flaw in the very question itself. Right now, we are not discussing about the first. Right now, we are discussing from our current position. As on today, how I got this body is because of my past Punya Papa. I got this. With this, what I'm going to do is a choice. What is a choice? I can develop fresh Punya Papa, or I can knock off all Punya Papa using the spiritual disciplines. Through tapas, I knock off all that, then I get realization. Through this body, if I develop Punya, I go to heaven. And then I will get my next birth. Next body will be given to me. Going to heaven means what? Another body will be given, which is a better body I will get. Then what will happen? Again, I will be given a choice. What? To develop Punya or Papa. And then what's going to happen? Again, I have to do. Now, even if you go on doing only Punya, no Papa at all, what is going to happen? You are just going to be getting next body. Every time you are getting the next body, you are put under fork of doing Punya or Papa. Or totally negate these two and go in a different direction. Negating this Punya and Papa together and moving in a different direction is called a spiritual path. Punya, Apunya, Vivarchita Pantha. Vivarchita means you discard. Visarjanam means you just discard it. You just throw it. You discard what? Punya and Papa together. Not only Papa. If you are discarding only Papa, only sinful, only selfish, I'm developing only unselfish, sir, then you get Punya for that. Now, you have been doing this. Punya you are getting. Now, you have developed so much of Punya. Okay. Suppose if you were to be given this realization at the time of Pralaya, all that Punya karma that you have developed will bear no fruit, will not have any effect. No effect of that. Suddenly it will all disappear. All that you have accrued, all that Punya Papa that you have accrued, everything comes to a standstill. That becomes a defect. It is a problem. One. Second one is, that is why he gave this Brahma. Brahma, what he does next day morning, he starts his creation. With what he will create? He need a material, right? What is the raw material for him to create the next cycle? What is the raw material? The previous unmanifested becomes manifested now. What has came in comes out. What has come in comes out. Suppose if this is not the case, then what will happen? Two defects comes into picture. One, you don't get no effect. One defect. Another one is, he will not have a basis for him to create the next being, because next time when he is starting a cycle, he has to give varied beings, no? Different bodies he has to give. So you will be getting a body on basis of what? On basis of somebody else's karma? You see? So next cycle of creation becomes a problem. When Brahma wakes up, he will go blackout. Like this lady, she wakes up, she will go blackout. That's not the case. When you wake up as the same person only, no? All that has happened is same thing is projected. I think this Therefore, even during pralaya time, there is no guarantee of realization. You go to Brahmaloka also, there is no guarantee, man. Then what is the guarantee? There is only one guarantee. What is it? Reach me. Mamupetya. Mamupetya Kaunteya. Yes. Only on reaching me, O Kaunteya, there is no rebirth. Punarjanmana vidyate. There is no rebirth. Only upon realizing the self. There is no. Even if you go to Brahmaloka, there is no guarantee that you will get realization. Suppose you go to Brahmaloka, guaranteed realization means these defects are there. Because of what? Manifest and unmanifest. Manifest and unmanifest is the way the cycle keeps on happening. If this is allowed, if I give that as an exemption, if I write off all your karma and say, I'll take you to realization, it doesn't work. Now, this Krishna we will not like. We like which Krishna? Surrender to me. I'll grant you moksha, man. What's your problem? That Krishna we all like. Just surrender to me. Just say Krishna. All that you have to do is what? Once you say Krishna at the time of death. Narayana, you say at the time of death, you will get nothing will happen. Your servant also will not come. Forget about, Narayana coming. You have to slog. You have to work with that. Remember, that's the idea. We hear. So what is the implication? Prima facie, when you see all that he says is this is a life of it and there is a cycle going on. But what we need to understand is not what he's saying. What is the implication behind it? Why is he saying that? He's saying this only to explain to Arjuna that you don't get this realization, Brahman, through pralaya. Why? Because all of us have, lot of them have this belief. During pralaya time, all of us get back to Brahma's unmanifest. No. Therefore, the next verse he brings out. He says, there is another avyakta. He says, Vyakta, avyakta. Vyakta, avyakta. There are two, no. Now, suddenly, in 20th verse, he introduces another avyakta. There is yet another unmanifest. So, what you understand as unmanifest is manifested one getting back, folding back. There is another one which you don't connect to, which you can't experience, which you cannot understand, which is imperceptible. That imperceptible reality is totally different from this unmanifested. Both are unmanifested. There are two unmanifested. Suddenly, total chaos. This Akshara Brahma Yoga, beautiful chapter. The way he explains it. That's why we call him Jagadguru. Oh, beautifully he derives ideas. Every idea is explained and derived beautifully there. Step by step he goes. And then he explains what is that unmanifest. 20, 21, 22. These three verses, he explains the next three verses. Explanation is what is that yet another unmanifest. Now, what is Brahman? What is the state of Brahman then? If life is going to be happening only between these two, manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest, what is the state of realization? What is the state of Brahman then? And that's the implication here. So this multitude of beings being born again and again is dissolved helplessly. The approach of night, O Partha, and it steams forth helplessly at the approach of day. That Havasha need to be, you have to add it in the last line again. So it dissolves helplessly and expresses helplessly. Nothing can be done. So the only way you can do is when it manifested state, you are given a choice. execute the choice appropriately is the idea. I'll see you in the next class. Hari Om.